Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic, Lesson, Non-Classic. This episode number 2860. No, it's 71. And Doubleshot number 2765. We got two Marvel series here. First up, we're finally on the sixth end. Well, this is the last one discussed aside from basically Volume 10. Yeah, this also is out of all the volume, this is the third longest of the entire series. I say the third longest because it's 36 issues, and here reviewing the first 5 from the Vicious Cycle trade. The first thing this book has, now, here's a little fun fact about this book. Did you know this book was launched because of the success of the previous volume? Yeah, because that book was such a big hit, you think, oh, Garth Ennis take over the title. Nope, it's Daniel Way and Mark Textra. Yep. So, basically, the book has the return of Lucifer to the Ghost Rider book. First time since the 70s. Since issue 8 of Volume 2. So, yeah, of course, Johnny Blaze. He also apparently stole stuff from Dan Ketch here. Like, he's got spike shoulder pads, his coat. And he also steals something else for Dan Ketch. We'll get to that. So he does his own thing, fights Lucifer, runs into Doctor Strange, of all people, who introduced himself as Doctor Strange. And I'm like, wait, Johnny Blaze knows who Doctor Strange is. They worked with each other back in the 90s. Why the heck would he not know who he is? I thought this was really weird. He pops up for a couple issues, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, the first issue also for appearance of Grenix. This weird creature who just a one-shot character. I mean, aside from Doctor Strange, who else is in this storyline? We also have friends of a woman named Dixie, who is sort of a reoccurring character throughout this book. Yeah, and she's here for the opening issue, and then she's returning into issue 14 of this very book. Yep. Yeah, Doctor Strange goes in issue 2 and says, "Hi, I'm Doctor Strange." And I read this, I'm like, Daniel Way, you do know that Johnny Blaze does know who Doctor Strange is. I'm sure he probably got some criticism for this. It's like, yeah, he knows who he is. They work together. And, of course, he thinks this by Lucifer. He really isn't. And then he steals something else from Dan Ketch. What is it? He gives Doctor Strange the penance stare. Yes, one of Dan Ketch's moves. It's like Daniel Way, probably like he thought this is going to be Dan Ketch. Nope, it's Johnny Blaze. Why in the world they decided to have it where we have to take one of Dan Ketch's abilities to steal one of his abilities from him? I have no idea. It is really, really weird. The main story itself is wrapped up issue 4. Yes. And then, get this. The very next issue has the return of the Quentin Carnival. First time since issue 80 of the previous volume. And Ghost Rider, he just rides right in. Apparently the place is abandoned. Yes, it's abandoned for some reason. No explanation for it. There's no appearance by the people who are part of the Quentin Carnival, but there's also a flashback of when his father, Barton Blaze, was a stunt driver in MSG, which I thought that was really cool on Mark Texter do that. Yes. Now you're probably thinking, does the place return after this one issue? A few times. It does not reappear again until issue 22 of this very book. The miniseries that come after this book, actually, a couple times, at least 4 times after this. A couple times, actually, just this year. One was actually last year in the flashback miniseries Dan Ketch Ghost Rider, which was really good, by the way. Its most recent appearance was in Ghost Rider vs. Wolverine, Weapons of Vengeance #1. Was it a flashback? Yes, it was a flashback. So you can kind of say, what could have been a last appearance. It was actually the miniseries. Nope, not that one. Was it 22? I could say this book is probably his last non-physical appearance, where it was not shown in a flashback. I thought that was really cool. Really interesting story arc here. We also show behind the scenes the mysterious person who watched all this, which is not revealed until like issue 18 who this person is. But great start for this run. I got handed away. Aside from the whole thing with Doctor Strange, it's a great start. I'm going to give the book roughly a 9 out of 10. Next up we have is some Punisher. As in, Punisher War Journal. Issues 21 to 37. I originally could stop at 35, but basically the main reason why, because Mike Barron's run ends with that issue. For the first 4 issues, it's basically the Punisher going to the jungle for a few issues. Now, the first issue here is done by Carl Potts, who was the writer of the book. Yep. Yeah, he was the writer of the book at the time. He would not see the book very long. No. He would not. This would be this issue here is for one of the last 4 issues he does the book before taken over by Mike Barron. So in a way, I'm kind of going for 2 runs here. The whole thing of this is just a one-shot issue. It's like we have 2 one-shot issues and then a 2-parter. But I do enjoy the covers of this book. It's amazing. The artwork is mostly done by this issue here. It's Todd Smith who does the artwork in this issue. And can you believe these issues came out of the period of, get this, August of 1990, and the last issue discussed here will be from December of 1991. So in the way, I covered like a little over a year worth of Punisher War Journal. Yep, I do. Oh, I thought basically contained issue 20, next one was issue 19, so. Now, 20, meanwhile, it's basically the first of 4 issues where Punisher is in the South Pacific. He's here he's here with the Foreign Legion, starts issue 20, and then he goes to Hawaii for this issue here, issue 21. We have the first appearance of Maria Keaton. She's just a one-shot character. And there's also Dave Keaton, who is her husband. Yeah. So you can think of 20 and 24 as the Punisher Jungle issues. And then we have issue 22, where he goes to Peru. Deal with some drug dealers. Okay. Interesting. 23 is basically, he's going to Belize, which is another jungle country. So, then 24, the final issue of this, it's basically still in the same place. They also have a character who just debuted here for this 3 issues here called Victor Santiago. Yep. And that is basically the end of Carl Potts run the book. Yep, that'll be his last issue. Of course, yes, he did take the issue off for issue 260, mostly but he did the first 2 years of this book. Skipping only issue 16, mostly he was here for pretty much the first, about 2 years. And then, for the next year, it's basically Mike Barron. First up, we have the Sicilian Saga. Yes, where he's in New York, Miami. He deals with a Sicilian family. I think this is a really cool story arc. It takes up roughly 3 issues of the book, 25 to 27. And they debuted this new family called the Pasticcio family, who only just appeared in this one story. And then by the end of this, the cover is like, the Punisher on Earth. Yeah, the whole thing of Punisher's family, it's nothing really to do with this at all. Not really. But I did find the story quite interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah, they also kill off this character, Rico. Yeah, I think he's Rico consequently, he's basically Punisher's. He's his uncle. Yes. I was like, yeah, let's team up with his uncle for an issue. And then we had the very next issue, we team up with this woman named Joy Adams, who's from the main Punisher book. I think this issue here was her final appearance in comics. Yes. She had last appeared during the Jigsaw storyline. Yeah, in the Jigsaw puzzle, that's where she last appeared. And then she appears there for this one issue, and that was the last we saw of her. We also deal with the Animal Liberation Army for a couple issues. Actually, this issue here, then they pop up again in Webstorm number 2. In issue 29, 29-30 is a really interesting two-parter. You want to know why? Because it's Punisher teamed up with the Dan Ketch Ghost Rider. I'm like, I love this idea. I love the concept when I read this. And like these two work together. Of course, these two got a couple miniseries out of this two-part storyline. It's for like 25 and 30. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, and then we have this really cool cover here by Joe Gieskel, where it's like in the Swiss, it's basically Alaska. Yeah, Punisher goes to Alaska to deal with this movement or whatever. I gotta show up this really cool cover for issue number 31. Oh, in case you're curious though, this book has got no annuals. Well, not this volume anyways. Volume 2 does. Yes, Volume 2 does have an annual. 1. But this volume, nope. Look at that amazing cover there. That looks awesome. Yeah, it's like, oh, let's have Punisher kill people in frickin' Alaska. And this is known as the Kajmitron Conspiracy. And they have the K's backwards. And this is not the only cover that's really cool. Here's issue 32. Now that looks like a movie poster right there. It's like, wow. Like, and here's the thing. It's only just for these two issues to have this really cool cover. And then issue 30, now the whole group who basically, the cover liberation was basically the whole thing with it was like Russia's invading Alaska for a few issues. I'm like, well, they're only here for a few issues, but I love the storyline. It was really good. Yep. And then basically they get killed off by issue. Oh yeah, they have 31 basically also has the same cover dude. That was Tom Palmer does this one. Last one's Bob Larkin. But I love the cover for the storyline. 34 is basically him back in New York City. Or uses the brain vehicle of the Unlimited Freeway Fighter, which only appears twice. Next time we see it was actually shoot up the main Punisher book, issue 54. It was never seen again. Mostly put, it's just a very interesting style issue. And then we have, oh, let's have basically Punisher part of a movie set for issue 35. Yeah, that's literally what this issue is. Like the director's kind of forcing Punisher to participate in a picture. Yes. Though he gets killed up at the end of the issue, but he rightfully deserves it because how much of a jerk he was being to everybody. Scene 35, take 1. And then we have issue number 36, Mike Barron's multi-issue. The whole thing in this one is that, okay, the bride and groom do love each other, but she doesn't like him because he cheated on her. And they put in the vows, okay, I agree to be your wife if you promise never cheat on me ever again. And also, when they first show him, he is beating a woman for no reason. Also, he gets money to pay for a new dress. Like, it's implied he raped her. Then Punisher shows up, basically massacres the whole wedding except for the bride. Yeah, it's like this was a. I'm not sure what this was when it comes to Punisher. It feels like this Punisher was just inserted here because the main story is interesting. It's like the Punisher is like a supporting character in his own book. That's what issue 36 was. It felt like he was a supporting character. Yeah, he massacres the whole wedding party. And the final issue of Mike Barron's run is, well, dealing with this group known as Humans Off Planet. They debuted in issue 31. And they're part of that whole conspiracy thing. And this issue here was their final appearance. What is Humans on Planet? Just some terrorist organization. And I guess Baron basically felt as though, like, hey, I'm going to leave this book because I'm taking out. Because the thing is, the very next issue of this very book, Chuck Dixon takes over. And he's the primary writer for a lot of the majority of, basically for the remainder of this book, with the exception of a small handful of issues. He's pretty much the primary writer of this book. The only issues is not due is 50, 65 to 75, and 43, 60, and 60, well, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, basically a small handful of issues per se, but he pretty much is a regular writer from this point forward. But, really good book. I enjoyed these issues. It's kind of interesting, though, that throughout this whole brief of Mike Baron, he has, like, basically, like, in a way, like, 2 story arcs and a bunch of standalone issues. Yep. But, yeah, that's pretty much it, particular review. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit this like button. So, next up, the last 4 episodes, or right now for Ultra 7, and then next Comic Corner will be the first of a few in a row where I'm wrapping up stuff. What's next time? Excalibur and Alpha Flight. Not the series, just the volume. Okay? The next video. Oh, by the way, before I end here, Mike Baron and Carl Potts had an excellent run with this book. The first 37 issue of this book was just purely amazing. Mike Baron, you did an amazing job with this book. It's gripping, and now we gotta see basically how Chuck Dixon lives up to this thing. Because in a way, he kind of forced Mike Baron off this book. And he was kind of like his rival. But they got along fine. It's just that he kind of felt as though he was his rival, competing him who does a better story. And Mike Baron has been treated fine by Marvel Comics over the years. But not the case Chuck Dixon. Nope. And also, apparently, he was never allowed to write a lot of the main characters of the Marvel Universe. Like, the only characters in the series right at Marvel have just been Conan, Punisher, and Moon Knight. And that's it. Like, he did a lot more work at DC than he did at Marvel. So there's that. So, next time I come out with the book, we'll be basically talking about Chuck Dixon's for the book, which should be interesting. Okay, so I'll see you next video. Bye.